meditation of all our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. So we've been hanging with Job for a couple, 2-3 weeks now. But in case you missed the summary statement, I'll start there. Job was a fairly successful man, and then one bad thing happened, and the next bad thing happened, and the next bad thing happened, and so on, and so on, and so on. And in that day and time, the belief was that if bad things were happening to you, it was because you had done something inappropriate or maybe even really bad, and God was punishing you. So, as things went worse and then worse and then worse, Job's friends came to him and began to try to get him to confess to what he had done so badly that all these bad things were happening. Job maintained absolutely throughout he had done nothing. He didn't know why it was happening, but he had done nothing from which he needed to repent. And his friends kept insisting that surely he had. And finally, in a fit of pique, Job says, I wish God was standing right here so that I could question him and find out what the heck this is all about. Well, guess what happens? God shows up. And God says to Job, not Jacob, that was last week, who is this darkening counsel with words lacking knowledge? Prepare yourself like a man. I will interrogate you, and you will respond to me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Tell me if you know. Who set its measurements? Surely you know. Who stretched out a measuring tape on it? On what were its footings sunk? Who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang in unison and all the divine beings shouted? Who enclosed the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment, the dense clouds its wrap? When I imposed my limit for it, put on a bar and doors and said, you may come this far and no farther. Here your proud waves stop. In your lifetime, have you commanded the morning, informed the dawn of its place so it would take hold of earth by its edges and shake the wicked out of it? Do you turn it over like clay for a seal so it stands out like a colorful garment? Light is withheld from the wicked, the uplifted arm broken. It goes on like that for 4 chapters. I think he was annoyed. Job, at one point, says, I get it. I'm not even going to try to answer. I misspoke once, I'm not going to do it again. And God starts in again with another couple chapters. And finally, Job says what is the beginning of our passage this morning. I have been inappropriate. You are the creator. I am the created. I still don't understand. But you're the one who knows. So here's the detail in the part of the story that got clipped from the middle of the reading this morning. After Job repents and apologizes, God says to Job's friends, y'all are in trouble. You have not spoken of me correctly like Job has. You need to offer a full sacrifice, and you need to ask your friend Job to pray for you. Now, that's no small statement when you think about how they have harassed Job, and now he's supposed to pray for them. And you know what? He does. He prays for his friends. And then the story resumes in this morning's passage about how all the good stuff came back. That is not why Job prayed for his friends. He didn't know that was going to happen. He prayed for his friends because he had had an experience with God. That's that's the part of the lesson that if you take notes, I want you to underline, highlight, mark in italics, whatever you do. I had heard of you, but now I have seen you, and I understand. Job has had an experience of God, an experience with God, and he is a changed man. No question about that. The gospel, Bartimaeus, is a beggar sitting on the side of the road, which is what beggars do. They sit and they beg for food or money for their sustenance. He hears a crowd coming down the road, and he learns that it's Jesus. Clearly, he has heard of Jesus and knows who Jesus is. And he cries out, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And his friends sternly admonish him to hush up. He's just a beggar after all. Who should he be bothering? The Son of David. Bartimaeus ignores him completely and yells all the louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And Jesus hears him and calls him over. And so these sternly admonishing friends say, "Great news, he wants to talk to you." And so he throws down his cloak, probably his only possession, and goes to Jesus and stands there. And Jesus says, "What do you want me to do?" That's it. That's all he says. And Bartimaeus says, "I want to see again." Clearly, he has seen before, has lost his sight, knows what it is to be a person with sight, and wants that back. Now, please notice what Jesus does to heal Bartimaeus. Nothing. He doesn't spit in the dirt. He doesn't lay hands on him. He doesn't say a big fancy prayer for people to hear. As far as we know, he didn't move. He simply says, "Go. Your faith has made you well. Go." It's a done deal. And the commentary says he regained his sight and joined the party. These are two encounters with God. Two very personal moments with God. One with the majesty and the awe and the unimaginable vastness of God the Creator. And one with an intimate standing in the middle of a road, one-on-one, face-to-face, and asking for one's sight. Those kinds of encounters are available to every one of us. All day, any day. It's called prayer. It's called meditation. It's called journaling. It's called driving the car and praying that you don't get hit by that guy who's swerving up in front of you. It might come in a moment of quiet. It might come in the middle of a huge celebration. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are really, really angry and you want to know why God has allowed that thing to happen. Or if you're torn to shreds and lost in tears and you want to know why God let that happen. Or if you're overwhelmed with the glory of a sunrise or a sunset, or those amazing clouds in the trees behind those amazing, amazing mountains. And all you can think is, wow. Any of those, all of those, and so many more are encounters with God, personal encounters with God. I encourage you to seek those out. Maybe to ask a question, maybe to ask for an answer, maybe to ask for a healing, maybe just to sit in God's lap and be. Maybe a place to just sit with, knowing that you don't have to worry about saying the right thing, doing the right thing, being the right kind of person, having the right kind of income, having the right kind of house, job, car, clothes, whatever. Just be. Because as you are is as you are. And there is no judgment. There is no God saying, well, I love you, but it's just, I love you. Period. End of the sentence. It is always available to every single one of us. The only question is whether we will allow it, whether we will receive it, whether we will acknowledge that relationship and that encounter. Consider 5 minutes today, 5 minutes tomorrow, 5 minutes each day this week to talk, to cry, to laugh, to write, or to just sit. It does not matter. What matters is that you know you are in the presence of God. If you will do that for 5 minutes each day this week, you will be a different person when you come back to this church next Sunday morning. Because encounters with God change you. There's simply no way to avoid that. It's just how it is. I had heard about you, but now I have seen you. And I understand. Lord, let me see again.